their individual rights. Pero kailangan ma-compel natin sila na pumunta rito. If not, eventually ma-issuehan sila ng warrant of arrest. So it goes with itong sa heel marks, yung mga alibay na sumakit yan, hindi na ubre ang next hearing. They have to be here. Okay? Attorney Peig. Okay? Then as well as yung mga City Hall officials. Yung City Hall officials, ano ito talagang hinahamon nila itong ating Senado. So sabi ko nga, we will not take that sitting down. We will exhaust and exert all necessary measures to compel them. Hindi sila pwedeng magtago sa saya ni Vice President dito dahil lahat sila kakalad ka rin namin dito. Ngayon, itong sila Erlinda Chong and family, Mr. Chairman, kailangan nandito na rin sila next hearing dahil yung ganito nag-aalibay, nagtatago, hindi pwedeng hindi nasa-serban. We have there are other ways. I'm sure nababalitaan nila ito sa kanilang mga kamag-anak. So siguradong alam nila ito. So pagka hindi sila mag-appear dito, pati sila Mr. Canlas, yung buong pamilya nila, member ng board. Ganon din yung sila Mrs. Erlinda Chong, yung buong pamilya nila should be here. Mr. Chairman, masyado na tayo mabait, Mr. Chairman. I believe kailangan na nating na mag-assert. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, on that
Senator
point, I was informed that in the past, the Blue Ribbon Committee made use of the services of the NBI, the National Bureau of Investigations, to serve the subpoenas. So let me just put that on the table and make that option available to the chair. And lastly, Mr. Chair, I was just reviewing the information that is pouring into our different offices. And there are some reports, of course, it is difficult to verify because of the bank secrecy law, that there's heavy withdrawals, to certain persons that have been mentioned here in the hearing, specifically on issues of graft and corruption. And it is very clear in the anti-money laundering law that unlawful activity refers to any act or omissions or series or combination thereof involving or having relation to the following. Section 3, paragraph B, C, E, G, H, and I of Republic Act 3019 as amended, otherwise known as the Anti-Graft Law and Corruption Practice Act, and the Plunder Law under Republic Act number 7080. Therefore, Mr. Chair, may I also move that in the next hearing we call the Anti-Money Laundering Council to be able to see whether they have been monitoring this hearing and whether they've been monitoring the bank accounts of the people that have been mentioned only as regards to the unlawful activity, which is the plunder and graft and corruption. I think the head is the executive director. Well, they have an executive director, but they also have a board. No? The executive director is usually the one who attends this hearing.
Let us issue a subpoena to the executive director of the Anti-Money Laundering Council. Invitation only, because definitely he will come here. So for our October 8 hearing. Okay, so before I act on the information that some people have received this subpoena but are not here, I see Attorney Claro Certeza seated there. Do you want to say something, sir?
Good morning, Your Honors. We would like to request that we be recognized just to make a manifestation, Your Honor.
Go ahead, sir.
Your Honor, please, yesterday we filed a manifestation with motion to the Blue Ribbon Committee as a whole, Your Honors. This was brought out by the fact that we read in the media that Senator Gingona was saying that he was not aware of our jurisdictional challenge. So what we did, Your Honor, is file a manifestation and attach to that the jurisdictional challenge that we filed earlier, Your Honors. Now, given this development, Your Honors, we would like to respectfully request that pursuant to Section 3, that we defer the hearing today, Your Honors, considering that Section 3 clearly states that when there is an existing jurisdictional challenge, then such challenge must be resolved by the committee, Your Honors, please. So with due respect to this subcommittee, Your Honor, we are asking that the matter be brought before the committee as a whole. And that in the meantime, we just defer, Your Honor, the inquiry pursuant to the rules of the Senate, Your Honors.
Thank you, Panyero, for your manifestation. It is already noted. So for those, you want to say something? Senator Trillanes?
I'd like to ask Attorney Certeza, Mr. Chairman. Anong basis ng jurisdictional challenge?
Your Honors, we enumerated several grounds po.
Just on record, para lang malaman ng publiko, ano yung basis nyo, bakit pinapahinto, bakit nyo china-challenge yung jurisdiction itong subcommittee na ito?
Ang isa pong ground na nire-raise namin doon, Senator Trillanes, is the fact that this investigation appears to be not in aid of legislation anymore. At sinasabi po namin ito because as we observe in the proceedings, it all started with an investigation on alleged overprice of building, Your Honors, which is Makati City Hall Building 2. But as the hearings progress, Your Honors, we have been subjected to so many issues already regarding alleged overprice of cakes, alleged overprice of other buildings, accumulation of antiques, Your Honors. And we believe at this point, Your Honor, the mayor does not know anymore what the issues are pending before this committee.
Okay, una-una, Attorney Certeza, he doesn't need to know at all. Ano? Tapos, pangalawa, ang ibig mo sabihin, kunyari may ma-uncover kami na anomalya na naka 1 billion outside dun sa Makati City Hall parking building, hihinto namin. Is that what you're saying, Attorney Certeza?
Now, Your Honor,
Okay.
because
No, okay.
if there is an
Now,
issue...
Attorney Certeza, let me continue. Dito sa Section 20, nabasa mo ba ito? Itong delegation
Yes,
of
Your
authority? Okay. Nakalagay dito, the chairman of a committee may create subcommittees as may be deemed necessary for the purpose of performing any and all acts which the committee as a whole is authorized to do and perform, except the power to punish for contempt. So in short, yung authority ng isang committee na delegate na dito. So ito hong ginagawa nyo, alam mo yan, Attorney Certeza, if you're worth that expensive suit you're wearing, alam mo that flimsy yung inyong basis. At wala, for that matter, wala nga basis at all. At in fact, ang ginagawa nyo lang is paano ihinto itong hearing natin dahil hindi nyo na masagot. 'Di ba? Nung una sinasabi, bring it on. Bring it on. So ito. Pangalawa, political lang yan. Wala yan. Kung wala ito, kung hindi kayo affected, then dapat wala kayong, hindi nyo nire-raise yan. So ano na ba ngayon yung linya? Politika or masakit na kaya kailangan na ihinto? Ano ba yan, Attorney Certeza?
May I respond, Mr. Chair?
Ay, hindi na lang. Si Chairman na lang.
Actually, this is already not in accordance with the rules. Council is not allowed really to argue with the subcommittee. But we have noted your manifestation, and it is filed with the chairman of the Blue Ribbon. So we will not act on that because he has to act on that.
Mr. Chair.
Okay,
Mr. Chair, just as another request, please, if your honors will agree that if the proceedings will proceed today, that the objections of these representations be put on record only, Your Honor.
Yes, it's now captured by our recording system and already transcribed.
Mr.
On
Chair.
that note, thank you very much, Your Honor.
Mr. Chair,
They do not want to let you go.
Panyero, before you go, Panyero, no? since you put your objection on record and you articulated the objection, which is unlike a court where issues are joined at the pre-trial, isn't it true that in legislative inquiries, no, there's a very wide latitude granted by the Supreme Court, not even by the Supreme Court, affirmed by the Supreme Court because it is the Constitution that gives the Congress the power. Hindi ba totoo pag in aid of legislation po, talaga pong napaka-wide at napakaraming issues? Kasi hindi naman po to criminal case, hindi to civil case. Isn't that true, Paniero?
May I respond,
Yes,
Mr.
yes,
Chairman?
sir. That's precisely for you to...
Yes, Your Honor, we agree that this august body has very wide powers and latitude. But in the same manner that the Constitution grants this august body with wide powers, there was also limitations, Your Honors. One, that it will respect the constitutional rights of others. Two, it's in aid of legislation. And three, that all the things that will be done in the committee level will be in accordance with the rules of the committee.
Okay. So let's go by that one by one. Number one, you said that we have to respect constitutional rights.
Yes,
Tama
Your
po
Honor.
yan. Can you tell me one constitutional right that this committee has violated to any of the resource persons, including your client?
The right to be presumed innocent, Your Honor,
Why,
until proven otherwise.
Mr. Chair, have we presumed anyone guilty here?
There are...
Can you name me one question that we asked Mayor Binay that we presumed him guilty?
In the stenographic notes that I have reviewed, Your Honors, with due respect, there were questions there leading to the conclusion that the august body has already made a determination that my client is guilty.
Huwag natin lokohin mga publiko, Paniero.
Wala ho akong
Even-
intensyon manloko, sir.
Well, your act speaks for itself, Your Honor. Alam mo, Paniero, even in the Supreme Court, sa oral arguments, ilang beses na ako naka-attend. Minsan, pag nagtanong yung justices, akala mo they made up their mind na eh. Akala mo guilty na eh. Dito lang sa ZTE sa Blue Ribbon eh. Nagulat ako sa botohan eh. Kasi yung mga nagtatanong na pro at pro, ang boto nila anti. Yung mga nagtatanong ng sobrang anti, ang boto nila pro. So that doesn't mean that they presumed anyone guilty. Didn't we give Mayor Junjun all the opportunity? Kasalanan ba namin na ang sagot niya, hindi niya alam ang presyo, kaya hindi niya alam kung overpriced? Ako ba nagsabi nun o siya? Hindi ba siya ang nagsabi nun?
May I respond?
Yes, that's a question for you, Your Honor. Because ang problema, Mr. Chair, the only reason I'm asking this, hindi na to legal eh. After this, you go to the media and you say that we're one-sided here. Senator Soto and Senator Ejercito were here. They also asked questions to Mayor Binay. We have not violated anyone's right here. We do not assume that anyone is guilty. In fact, in aid of legislation does not presume guilt or innocence. But we do make recommendations to the Office of the Ombudsman. But anyway, Mr. Chair, just to move this along because I know it's not a hearing, just one last question, no? Actually, two last questions. Totoo bang nireserve niyo po yung kabilang kwarto para sa press con at 11 o'clock?
I think that was through the assistance of
Senator
Nancy.
You reserved the room and you'll have a press con.
There was a request for an interview with me, Your Honors. So that I told them.
Ang request po ng interview, ang media nagre-request sa inyo. Pero pag kayo nag-reserve ng kwarto at kayo nag-invite ng media, hindi sila nagre-request ng interview sa inyo. Kayo nagre-request ng press con. Nag-reserve po kayo ng kwarto eh.
What I know, Your Honor, is
Dito sa
I will be
Senado.
interviewed, Your Honor.
Senator Nancy's office reserved a press con po sa Padilla Room. Tama? 11 o'clock.
I was just told, Your Honors, that
Who
there
told
will
you?
be an interview.
Who told you?
The
The office
assistant of Senator Nancy.
Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
So you're representing who in this hearing? Mayor Junjun or the Vice
Mayor
President?
Junjun Binay, Your Honor.
And also the Vice
Ms.
President,
De
hindi po.
Vera and Ms. Ebeng Balolo, Your Honor.
How about the Vice President?
It is my law firm that is
Representing the Vice President.
Yes.
Kasi kasama nyo sa hearing, kasama nyo sa press con nyo yung spokesman ng Vice President.
Well, I don't know whether he will be there or not, Your Honor.
Yes, kasi let's not split hairs here, Mr. Chair. Ang gusto ko lang palabasin dito simple. Ang Vice Presidente at ang kanyang pamilya ay gusto ipatigil ang hearing na to. That's the bottom line here. At kami naman, gusto lang namin lumabas ang totoo at iniimbitahan namin sila na pumunta dito at tayo magkasagutan. This is my last question, Mr. Chair. Are you a practicing, last group of questions, no, but just one point. You're a practicing lawyer, of course, no, as head of the firm.
Practicing, Your Honor, since
Yes.
1984.
Are you in litigation?
Yes, Your Honor,
Yes,
that's
okay.
part of my work.
Hindi ba totoo, Mr. Chair, that hindi ba totoo, Panyero, na part ng proseso, no, of coming out with the truth cross-examination is the showing of a pattern? Meaning, if the case is murder, but it doesn't have anything to do with the murder of that specific murder, but you want to show a pattern, kasama ho yun sa hearing, di ba? Papayagan ng judge yun. Pag sinabing objection, Your Honor, hindi natin pinag-uusapan yung pagpatay kay Pedro. Ang hearing dito ay pagpatay kay Juan. Pag sinabi ng abogado, allow me to show a pattern na itong tao na to was involved in several murders. Hindi ba kasama sa hearing yon?
The normal situation, Your Honor, as far as I know, is that evidence that the party is guilty in one instance should not be considered as evidence in
That's
another
the general
instance.
rule, Panyero. What's the
And that
exception?
is by way of exception, you will prove that there is a
It's a
pattern or
Okay.
scheme.
So kasama po yung pattern as an exception, di ba?
By way of exception,
Okay.
yes.
Number two, isn't it true that you can ask questions that may be irrelevant to the case itself, but may be relevant to proving the credibility of the witness?
I don't agree with that, Your Honor.
You don't agree with that, Your Honor? You never saw that in court?
That irrelevant evidences will be allowed?
If the case is paternity, kung siya tatay o hindi, pero question mo ang ibang personal circumstance niya para lumabas kung nagsasabi siya ng totoo o hindi, hindi relevant yun sa case? Hindi papayagan ng judge yun? If you tell the judge, Judge, I'm asking these questions to test the credibility of the witness,
The very essence of the rules of evidence prohibits considering evidences that are otherwise immaterial or irrelevant, Your Honor.
Anyway, Your Honor, I will not
Anyway,
debate on that,
in cross, that
but
will be
everyone knows that is allowed. So let me make this point, Mr. Chair. Yung iba pong mga issues na lumabas dito is to show a pattern of corruption. And our compañero here already admitted that as an exception, even in courts, and this is not a court, pwede yon. Pangalawa po, lahat naman nakakapanood ng tungkol sa korte. Pag tinetest mo yung credibility, halimbawa si Vice Mayor Mercado dito, tanungin ko siya tungkol sa relasyon nila, ibig sabihin, pinagsamahan nila sa mga lakad nila ni Vice President. Siyempre, irrelevant sa building kung magkasama sila sa Amerika or kung magkasama sila sa isang negosyo. But to test his credibility, I can ask those questions, Mr. Chair, and that is well established. So at least nailagay yung point ni Attorney Certeza on record, but we'd like also to put our point because basang-basa ko nang gagawin nito eh. Pupunta sa Supreme Court, sasabihin ipatigil yung hearing. So at the very least, both sides are on the record, Mr. Chair.
Well, anyway, just for Attorney Certeza to appreciate the time that we gave him today, let me read Section 5D of the Rules of the Senate Blue Ribbon. At every hearing, public or in executive session, the witness shall be accorded the right of having a counsel of his own choice. The participation of counsel during the course of any hearing and while the witness is testifying shall be limited to advising said witness as to his legal rights. Counsel shall not be permitted to engage in oral argument with the committee, but shall confine his activity to the area of legal advice to his client. But the argument which we just witnessed was with the consent of the subcommittee. But let this not be a precedent now that in future Blue Ribbon hearings that the counsel will be allowed to argue with the committee or the chairman. So thank you, Attorney Certeza, for your time.
Thank you, Your Honors, for giving me this opportunity.
You are late for your press con. Go ahead. Okay, so since we have been given a report by the Director General...
Mr. Chairman, just one point. Attorney
Attorney
Certeza,
Certeza, they do not want to let you go.
We will be monitoring yung press con mo. Pagbabasusin mo yung Blue Ribbon Committee, we will ask you back. Okay?
We have no intentions
Oh,
na
that's good.
mambastos.
Panero,
Your Honor.
sorry, just one point lang.
Panyero, take your seat. They do not want to let you go. Sige.
No, sorry, Mr. Chair. I just remembered, you mentioned you are also the lawyer for the EBENG? Yes.
Yes, Your Honor.
Can you inform your client that there's a subpoena for her to appear here?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Attorney Certeza. Thank you very much. Okay, we have to act on the report given by the Director General that some of the persons we have invited through, we have issued subpoena to, have not attended today's hearing. So we will issue what we call a show cause order. So the Secretariat, through the Director General, is directed to issue a show cause order to the people mentioned earlier, for these persons to explain the reason for their absence and not honoring our subpoena, duces tecum and ad testificandum, and convince the subcommittee why they should not be cited for contempt for unduly refusing to appear and testify or bring before this committee the documents or evidence required by this committee, notwithstanding the issuance of the appropriate subpoena, therefore. So this is in accordance with Section 18 of Resolution Number 5 of the Senate. Okay, so ordered. Okay, so, and pursuant and in compliance with the subpoena duces tecum we have issued to the Commission on Audit, we have received a letter dated October 1, 2014, addressed to the Senate President but brought to my attention as the chair of this subcommittee on PS Resolution Number 826 from Commissioner Jose A. Fabia. This is a sealed brown envelope which contains, according to the letter, to the cover letter, 9 pages, and it is an initial evaluation of the Makati City Hall 2 parking building. The letter also states that this, it contains, the report is preliminary. There is a request that the same be made confidential, but we cannot grant the request because of we feel the overwhelming public interest in this issue. So although this is still sealed, I will ask the page to bring this to Commissioner Fabia for you to open and read to this committee. Mahaba ba masyado for you to read this? Okay lang.
That's a 9-page report, Your Honor. And we made our reservations insofar as making it confidential. If the blue ribbon with the
We cannot grant it, Commissioner, because we looked at our rules. Sabi na rules namin, we'll have executive session if it involves national security. I don't think the Makati an anomaly or a finding as to alleged anomaly in connection with the Makati City Hall parking building 2 involves national security.
Mr. Chair, let us put on record that we appreciate ang kagustuhan ng komisyon na tapusin ang investigasyon, yung audit, and to keep confidential. At tama po yung ginawa nyo. Having said that, it is a burning issue. Ang problema po, yung public interest. And ang problema po, lalo tayong pagsususpetsahan. Pag lumabas later on na yung report ay walang anomalya, sasabihin niluto. Pag lumabas mamaya yung report na meron anomalya o may finding, sasabihin baka pinakiusapan. So I think it's better, with the caveat that number 1, the Commission was requesting that it be kept confidential, and number 2, that it is preliminary, meaning you will continue and finish it. May we request that the substantial parts of the report be made known so that the committee will be guided and the public will be guided, because both sides, the sides of the BNICE, the Vice President down, and the Senate have all affirmed our faith and confidence in the Commission on Audit, especially with the reforms you're doing. So it will be very important because it will be a third-party report. Ibig sabihin, hindi sa salita ng mga binay, hindi sa salita ng mga membro ng committee na to o ng mga witnesses, Mr. Chair.
So sabay-sabay po natin malalaman ang laman yan. Ang buong bansa, sabay-sabay natin malalaman. So, but if it's too long, maybe Mr. Juliano, you're also with COA. Can you
Yes,
help?
Your Honor. In fact, the reason why he is here is that he is the one who prepared the report.
Maybe we can
In
ask
that
Mr.
event,
Juliano
Your
to
Honor,
read.
we may request Attorney Juliano to speak.
No, rather than speaking, if he's the one who made the report, can he just read the report, Mr. Juliano? Attorney Juliano, Pañero?
Yes, we submit to your to the ruling of the committee.
Attorney Juliano, please.
Good morning, Your Honor. May I manifest my reservation first, Your Honor, before I read the report. We have created a special audit team, from my office, to conduct the special audit of the parking building, pursuant to the request of Honorable Ombudsman Morales. And because my office is in charge of conducting special audit based on complaints, we have evaluated, the case records was referred to my office, and then we made an initial evaluation to determine the necessity of conducting a special audit. And this report is for internal consumption of COA to serve as a basis for the issuance of an office order. And the recommendation was approved. The Honorable Chair, Grace Polito-Tan, issued an office order, but we have not conducted yet, we have not made the entrance conference with the City of Makati. So I want to put on record my reservation regarding the anti-RA 3019, particularly Section 3K on premature disclosure of, because this report is just a preliminary report and we have not get the comment of the management of the City of Makati.
Well, Mr. Chair, may I just manifest that you're not violating it because you were ordered by the subcommittee. Number two, your reservations are well taken. But remember also, Pañero, no, when you have the conference with the City of Makati, makikita nila yan. Then there will be leaks left and right. Diba? Kasi kung pabor sa kanila, syempre ililik nila na wala naman palang anomalya. Kung hindi pabor sa kanila, sisimulan nilang siraan ang komisyon. So mas mabuti na tayo na lahat nandito, ang publiko nanonood, pare-pareho nating hindi alam yung laman yan. And of course, we also have our own opinions as of now based on our questions. So with the reservation and noting that very preliminary yan, ibig sabihin, mas masusi pa ang gagawin yung pag-aaral dyan at kukunin nyo pa komento ng Makati. And lastly, Mr. Chair, after he reads this, let us invite also the City of Makati to make their comments here if they agree or disagree with it. Mr. Chair, may I ask that they proceed and that Mr. Juliano's manifestation be noted. No?
Mr. Juliano?
Given that assurance, Your Honor, that I will not be prosecuted under the anti-graft law, then, and I am compelled to disclose the preliminary investigation, then I will
Yes,
proceed,
Mr.
Your
Chair,
Honor.
just to read to you yung Republic Act 3019 na sinasabi mo, no? Divulging valuable information of a confidential character acquired by his or her office or by him on account of his official position to unauthorized persons. We are not unauthorized persons because as a official committee and subcommittee of the Senate of the Philippines, it is within the powers of this Congress, this Senate, no, to direct the COA to release these orders to the public. So let me assure you that you are not violating the law, no, by following our legal orders.
Thank you, Your Honor, and I would like to emphasize that my office wants to conduct this special audit with utmost independence and objectivity, and we will not take sides. We will not. We would like to assure the public that we are an independent constitutional commission.
Yes, we all know that, Mr. Juliano. Just like this subcommittee, we will base our report on the evidence. Kung ano lang yung nasa ebidensya po. Sige, go ahead, Mr. Juliano, on behalf of COA, please read to us your report.
pages to.
I will read it verbatim, Your Honor. Initial evaluation, red flags. Records show that the City of Makati had disbursed an aggregate amount of 2,367,679,633.95 as of December 31, 2013 for the construction of its City Hall parking building, details of which are as follows. Preliminary services, 11,974,900. Phase 1, 386,998,154.20. Phase 2, 499,357,003 and 73 centavos. Phase 4, 649,934,440.96. Phase 5, 143,806,161. Building management system, 75,614,953.01, or a total of 2,367,679 2,367,679,633.95. The project, consisting of 5 phases, was awarded to a single contractor, Hillmarks Construction Corporation. The mode of procurement for all the phases was public bidding. 3 bidders participated in the first phase, namely Hillmarks Construction Corporation, J. Bros Construction, and ITP Construction Incorporated. However, Phase 2 and 5 had only HCC as the lone and winning bidder. The funding source for Phase 1 was provided for under City Ordinance Number 2007-A-015, enacted on November 8, 2007, appropriating an amount of 1.240 billion as supplemental budget number 3 for calendar year 2007 to finance various projects, including the Makati City Parking Building. Below are the material dates of procurement activities for Phase 1. Publication of the invitation to apply and to submit eligibility to bid. First in the Balitaan newspaper, December 6, 2007. In the RTSC building, bulletin board, December 7, 2007. In the Field Jeps, December 13, 2007. The pre-bid conference was conducted on December 14, 2007. Public bidding was conducted on December 28, 2007. The post-qualification was made on January 4, 2008. Notice of post-qualification, January 4, 2008. Back resolution, January 11, 2008. Notice of award, January 11, 2008. And the contract was executed on January 18, 2008. The project was completed on January 6, 2009, and the project was accepted on January 29, 2009. The first red flag is that the project was implemented with undue haste, as there were no construction plans yet when it was bid out and awarded to Hillmarks Construction Corporation. A perusal of the records will show that Phase 1 was implemented with undue haste. Firstly, there was a gap of only 1 month from the passage of the appropriation ordinance on November 8, 2007, when the invitation to bid for the project was advertised on December 6, 2007. While the swiftness of the action taken by the city government may be considered as efficiency, the same could also be considered as a red flag, because this project, with such a huge budget, will surely require a careful conceptualization and planning. Under the implementing rules and regulations of RA 9184, prevailing when Phase 1 was implemented, the city is required to conduct detailed engineering with so many activities such as survey, site investigation, soils and foundation investigation, construction materials investigation, preparation of designs, preparation of technical specifications, quantity and cost estimates, program of work, proposed construction schedule, etc. The procurement process for the contract of architectural and engineering services for the parking building started on November 12 or 4 days after the passage of the supplemental budget for 2007, which was the funding source for the project. On this date, City Engineer Nelson B. Morales requested for a negotiated contract with the Bids and Awards Committee, justifying that the negotiation should be based on the unique experience and expertise of the consultant and the time constraint in which to undergo the normal bidding process. On November 14, 2007, the BAC found merit and approved the request of Engineer Morales to have a negotiated procurement instead of public bidding. On November 15, 2007, BAC Chairman Marjorie De Vera sent invitation to bid to submit proposals to 7 firms. On November 22, 2007, the BAC opened and evaluated the submitted proposals and found that the highest rated bid was tendered by Mana Architecture and Interior Design Company, or Mana for short. The following day, the BAC chairman notified Mana that they were awarded the contract. On November 28, 2007, the contract of architectural and engineering services was executed between Mana and the Makati City, or just 8 days before the parking building project was advertised in the newspaper on December 6, 2007. It appears that the negotiated procurement adopted by the BAC on the contract of architectural and engineering services was improper because none of the conditions laid down under Section 53 of the IRR of 9184 was present, such as two-failed biddings, emergency cases, takeover of contracts, adjacent or continuous projects, agency-to-agency, highly technical consultants, and defense cooperation agreement. The contract of architectural and engineering services with Mana has 3 major components to it: preliminary services 30%, contract document services 55%, and 3 supervisory services 15%. The preliminary services consist of 7 undertakings as follows: conference with the City of Makati to outline the projects, discussion of purposes, general plan of construction, and equipment discussion of probable time to build, the approximate cost, and the means of financing. 2, visiting of the site and studies of the project placement. 3, studies of efficient methods of operating the project for its purpose. 4, preparation of small-scale preliminary drawings embodying all architects' findings, analysis, and studies. And there are 3 other activities. On the other hand, the contract of document services consists of 5 undertakings to it: development and preparation of working drawings, including all essential architectural, structural, plumbing, electrical, air conditioning, and other required mechanical engineering works presented in the form of plans, elevation, sections, schedules, and notes. Number 2, preparation of specifications describing the types and quality of materials and finish, the manner of construction. Number 3, preparation of general conditions of the contract under which the project is to be constructed. The furnishing of complete sets of drawings and specifications normally required for purpose of building, city government license, and the construction of the works. And last, preparation of the contract forms. Based on the first billing dated 31 March 2008 of Mana through architect Orlando Mateo, the preliminary services was 100% completed, while the contract document services was only 20% completed as of billing date. The total billing of 4,909,709 was paid under disbursement voucher dated April 22, 2008, and the check payment was received by Architect Mateo on 24 April 2008. The second billing dated February 27, 2009, with a net collectible amount of 3,951,717 stated that the contract document services was 80% completed. This was paid under a DV dated May 27, 2009. The third billing amounting to 2,215,356.50 was paid under a disbursement voucher dated November 28, 2011, while the fourth and final billing amounting to 499,058 and 75 was paid on November 22, 2013. It appears, therefore, that when the parking building project was awarded to Hillmarks Construction Corporation on January 11, 2008, there were no completed plans yet, as the contract document services to be rendered by MANA was only 20% completed as of 31 March 2008. There was also a substantial difference of 105,349,353.40 between the approved budget of 387,486,020 pesos as against the approximate cost of project of 282,496,666 and 60 centavos as stated in the contract of architectural and engineering services and various documents approved by the mayor. With regard to the parking building, the IRR requires that the invitation to bid shall be advertised at least twice within a maximum of 14 calendar days with a minimum period of 6 calendar days in between publications in a newspaper of general nationwide circulation. The invitation to bid shall also be posted continuously in the PhilJeps during the maximum of 14 calendar days, while the bidding documents shall be issued within 30 calendar days from the last day of the period of advertising and posting of the AIB or the invitation to bid. The opening of bids for the infrastructure projects above 200 million shall be conducted within 60 to 19 days after the issuance of the bidding documents. There was only a gap of 22 days between the first day of publication of the invitation to bid made on December 6, 2007 and the opening of bids on December 28, 2007. There was a gap of 15 days between the PhilJeps publication on December 13, 2007 and the day of the opening of bids. This may have been the reason why the Makati City had only 3 bidders in such a huge project. Apparently, the city did not get the widest participation of prospective bidders and was unable to obtain the best possible price as envisioned by the Government Procurement Act, Reform Act. It is also noted that the public bidding was held on the last working day of the year. Second red flag, the variances between the ABC and the bids tendered by Hillmarks for the 5 phases were less than 1/4 of 1% of the ABC. For phase 1, the ABC is 300,846,020. The bids tendered by Hillmark is 386,998,154. The variance is 847,866, and the percentage of variance is 0.0021. For phase 2, the ABC is 499,944,622. The bid standard was 499,357,003, or a variance of 587,619. The percentage variance is 0.0011. For phase 3, ABC is 599,933,565. The bid tendered was 599,395,613, or a variance of 537,952, and the percentage of variance is 0.0008. For phase 4, the ABC is 649,981,803. The original contract cost was 649,275,681, or a variance of 706,122. The percentage of variance was 0.0011. And for phase 5, the ABC was 141,911 and 177. The original contract cost was 141,649 and 366 pesos. The variance was 261,811, or in percentage 0.0018. The bids tendered by the winning bidder for the 5 phases did not even reach 1/4 of 1% of the ABC. Moreover, while there were 3 bidders who participated in the first phase of the project, it was so unusual, especially when the mode of procurement was public bidding, that with respect to phases 2 and 5, there was no other bidder who tendered his bids except the lone and winning bidder who also got the award for phase 1. Number 3 red flag, there was no valid ABC for phase 3 when the city started the procurement process. For phase 3, it is noted that there was no appropriation yet when the city started the procurement process on November 27, 2009, the date of publication of the invitation to bid in the Balitaan newspaper. The covering appropriation city ordinance number 2010-A-005, or the supplemental budget for CY 2010, was only enacted on September 14, 2010. It is also noteworthy that the BAC resolution recommending the approval to HCC was made as early as January 8, 2010. However, the notice of award was only served to the winning bidder on September 21, 2010. Obviously, the head of procuring entity waited for the passage of the appropriation ordinance before he issued the NOA to the notice of award to Hillmarks. Under the attendant circumstances, it appears that there was no valid approved budget for the contract when the city started the procurement process. ABC is defined as under RA 9184 as follows. Approved budget for the contract refers to the budget for the contract duly approved by the head of the procuring entity as provided for in case of national agencies, the General Appropriations Act, and or continuing appropriation. In the case of the corporate budget for the contract approved by the governing boards pursuant to Executive Order Number 518, Series of 1979. In the case of government-owned and controlled corporations, government financial institutions, and state universities and colleges, and the budget for the contract approved by the respective Sagunian in the case of local government units. Since there was no appropriation yet for phase 3, the ABC prepared by the city had also no legal basis yet. Stated differently, it had no basis yet to start the procurement process in 2009 since the appropriation ordinance was enacted only in September 2010. Number 4, PERCOA inspection report dated July 7, 2011 for phase 3. The parking building was already habitable and ready for use. It is also noted that PERCOA inspection report dated July 7, 2011, the parking building was already habitable and ready for use upon completion of phase 3. Thus, it is highly questionable why the city had to disburse an aggregate amount of 793,740,601.96 for phases 4 and 5. And the last is the number 5, the approved budget for the contract and contract costs show very significant variances above COA estimated costs for phases 3 and 4. Tabulated below are the results of the technical inspection reports rendered by the COA engineers with respect to phases 1 to 4. The ABC versus COA evaluated cost. ABC for phase 1 is 387,846,020. COA evaluated cost 375,900,233, or a variance of 11,935,787 with a 3.17 variance. For phase 2, approved budget for the contract was 499 944,622. COA evaluated cost for 94. This is the COA evaluated cost by our technical engineers in Makati City. This is not yet the evaluation to be made by the special audit team. For phase 3, the ABC was 599,933,565. COA evaluated cost is 549,336,810. The variance was 50,596,755 or 9.21%. For phase 4, ABC is 649,981,803 and the COA evaluated cost was 592,166,077 or a variance of 57,081,5726. In terms of percentage, 9.76. The COA contract cost versus COA evaluated cost. Almost the same percentage. For phase 3, 599,994,021. COA evaluated cost 549,336,810. Variance 50,657,211 or 9.22. For phase 4, contract cost is 649,934,440. COA evaluated cost was 592,166,077 or a variance of 57,768,363 or 9.76. From the tables above, it can be gleaned from that for phases 1 to 4 alone, there was a total variance between the ABC and the COA evaluated cost amounting to 126,098,550, while the contract cost vis-a-vis the COA evaluated cost had a total variance of 124,676,158. These amounts are very significant. Further, the percentages of variance for phase 3 and 4 are within the borderline of the 10% allowable variance. The materiality of the variance, considering all the red flags already discussed, deserves a deeper analysis and evaluation. 6. Unnecessary expenditures for mobilization and demobilization. Considering that only one contractor made all the 5 phases of the project, the city government may have incurred unnecessary expenditures for mobilization and demobilization for phases 2 to 5, amounting to 14,498,56.24, which were included in the agency cost estimate. That's all, Your Honor.
Thank you, Attorney Juliano. Maybe now secure our copy. I've noticed that the Vice Mayor, the incumbent Vice Mayor of the City of Makati is here, Vice Mayor Peña. And I think he's a new witness. This is the first time, no, Vice Mayor? Maybe ask the Director General to administer the oath just in case a question is asked of you, Vice Mayor.
Pakitayo po. Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in this proceeding? Thank you. You may take your seat.
Mr. Chair, so that we stick to the topic, can I just ask 2 or 3 questions kay Attorney Juliano and for the commissioners to also hear?
Pero mabuti na nandito rin pala si Vice Mayor representing the City of Makati and he heard the report as it was being read. So maybe you can now measure what you're doing right now against the what happened before, no? So sige. And to avoid repeating past mistakes and practices. Senator Cayetano?
Well, I'd just like to thank the Commission, first of all, to coming out with a very quick preliminary report because of the public interest involved in this issue. And napakahalaga, hindi lang sa COA, hindi lang sa Senado, pero sa buong bansa, na meron talaga tayong independent na Commission on Audit, no? Having said that, let me point out first, Mr. Chair, I asked around about the quantity surveyors. They will charge around 1 to 1.3 or 1.4% of the project. So kung ang isasabit ng architect is 1 billion pesos yung cost ng building, ang ibabayad mo sa quantity surveyor is about 12 million pesos to 14 million pesos para i-evaluate nila, no? And for many building owners or yung nagko-construct, okay lang yon kasi kung ma-overprice ka ng 5%, 60 million yon. Samantalang ito, may kumpiyansa ka na yung in-evaluate nila, ibig sabihin po, yung quantity surveyors, parang yun ang COA nung private. Sesiguruduhin tama, no? Unfortunately, for like projects like this, I assume you're just using your internal resources. I assume you do not have 14 million pesos for a quantity surveyor or for a special audit for this. Am I correct, Your Honor? Anyone in the commission can
Your Honor, we will get the services of a quantity surveyor, and we had contracted a very the
Reputable.
engineering department of a reputable university to help us
Yes.
in the evaluation of the technical
Commissioner,
aspect.
in this case, but I'm saying in general, for example, there are 100, hindi naman po kasi lahat kayang gumawa ng malalaking building, no? But assuming there are 10 cities and there are 10 departments all making buildings, 20 buildings, you will do the usual audit by the resident auditors and will some technical experts paid by the COA, but kami naman nagra-grant ng budget nyo, no? I
That's
do not
correct,
think
Your
there is a budget there of 15 million for every 1 billion building. Hindi po ba?
There is none, Your Honor. That is why it's important that we have to look at this in terms of new legislation that will come out of this hearing.
That's what I wanted to point out, that you want to do your job, but you do not always have the resources to do it. So you have to just be more resourceful, no? Kasi ang pino-point out ko lang dito, but since you already answered my second and third question, that if you will be doing this audit, not only government style but private sector style, because I just wanted to point out, Mr. Chair, na we already had testimony here. Sabi po ng Vice Presidente at sabi po ng Hillmarks sa kanilang presentation, mas mahal pagka government building, no? Pero nung hinimay po natin at cross-examine, mas mura dapat pag government building dahil ang government contractors ay meron pong limit ng 10% contractors profit. Unlike po sa private sector, pwede silang umabot hanggang 17% na profit. So we will not tell Mr. Juliano or any of your teams how to do we will not tell them kung ano resulta dapat. But it is our job to make sure that yung how, no, at yung what, meaning po na you're doing the audit just like private sector audit will do, so that we come out with the correct amount. Kung hindi po kasi to our honorable commissioners who are here, no, lalabas kasi na iba ang presyo ng gobyerno, iba presyo ng private. Napakapangit ho, no? Parang natin sinasabi, pag private sector gumawa, mas mura. Pag gobyerno, mas mahal. Ang gawin na lang po natin, i-outsource na natin lahat ng infra sa private sector kung ganun din lang para mas mura. But if we're now being assured by COA that in future audits and especially if we grant you the increases, I heard sa budget, tinanggalan pa kayo ng 500 ba? 600 million? Ano bang, Commissioner? Sa hinihingi nyo?
More than 800 million.
More than 800 million pa ang tinanggal. So
Yes,
every
Your Honor.
time na may busisi at nagagalit kami bakit hindi tama yung sa COA, kayo nasisisi. Pero yung pondo na kailangan nyo para gawin ang trabaho nyo, usually hindi na ibibigay sa inyo. Tama po ba?
Tama po yun.
Sige.
Your Honor.
Anyway, we will have the budget hearing, but please be more aggressive than Commissioner. Kasi yung reforma na gagawin nyo will save us much more than the 800 million. Just to give you an idea, kung totoong overpriced tong building na to by 1 billion, yun na po yung buong budget na hinihingi yung increase for 1 year. I will defer, Mr. Chair, until their final report. I just wanted to
We
make
will-
sure that they will do the audit public-private sector style, meaning hindi katulad nung testimony earlier that hindi nila alam yung handbook, hindi alam yung mga presyo, no? At hindi ko sinisisi yung dati, baka wala sa regulasyon nyo, but the chairman of the COA assured us that we will have a audit that will really get to the bottom of the prices.
We are still making copies of the preliminary report, so we'll suspend for 3 minutes.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Carlo, wala pa sa prompter yung ano.
Magandang tanghali Pilipinas, live mula sa Pag-asa Weather and Forecasting Center. Eto na